Elections Act, which provides for the recall, and just give a more detailed approach that carries the same provisions that are in the County Governments Act, so that this is what will be used moving forward. We hope that Parliament will enact it so that we have a provision for recall. Thank you very much.
Ben is going to take the question by Anthony on voter education and the issue of clearance of certificates by IEBC.
Thank you, Anthony. In regard to certificates on voter education, what happens is that the IEBC accredits institutions, organizations to assist it in conducting voter education. And what happens is that those particular organizations, like yours, make application to IEBC. Then IEBC has set up an accreditation committee. This committee sits to evaluate your qualifications based on your experience and what you submit, so that you are able to accredit you and issue you with a certificate. So maybe your application may have not been on time, and then may have been among the last batches, and you are not able to probably secure whatever as the funding you wanted to secure. However, I encourage you to start early the applications so that we can work together in the future, and you are able to get ready on time as you meet your partners and people who are going to assist you and us in the voter education platform. So on the matter of the use of technology in voter education, I support you on that one. And there was a small survey that was done, a very small survey that was done by the Center for Multi-Party Democracy that was asking the participants on which channel they thought or felt that they were going to learn more about IEBC. And the one that came out overwhelmingly was the use of the social media and the technologies. And what we are doing today is actually an appreciation and a start towards achieving that particular objective, so that we bring in technology and we use that one to pass on our voter and civic education messages. I will ask my colleague to also handle further on the how we come on board with partners like you so that we assist the commission. Thank you.
Sorry, good evening. My name is Joyce. Thank you for your question, Anthony, and thank you for having an interest in working with us in providing voter education to the public. I'd like to say that as a commission, we welcome the excellent new ideas for voter education, and we would have welcomed it even then. So we just say that once you get accredited as a voter education provider, it gives you more credibility once you approach partners and donors to fund your idea. The other thing I would encourage is that the next time we set up a youth coordinating committee. Okay, so we do have a youth coordinating committee, which is basically a conglomeration of youth organizations, youth run and youth serving organizations that are working in the election space. What they do with us is they help us come up with strategies, messaging, and they basically just help us with public outreach initiatives. So the next time we set it up, of course, we are going to. It would be very good if you would express interest in joining the YCC, so that these committees will give you more access to donors, more access to people who fund us. But we do welcome technology. I'll give an example. In 2022, we partnered with an organization called Science Media, and also then to run an app that was called Assist All App. Assist All App basically is an app that already Science Media has, and they allowed us to put our material in it. It is an app that is supposed to provide voter education. So what we're doing with it is provide voter education to the hearing impaired, to our to our hearing impaired stakeholders, and it worked pretty well. And so I don't see I don't think there'll be any challenge in partnering with you in providing voter education via virtual reality. But then, of course, that is a conversation we need to pick up. So maybe introduce yourself and your organization and what you do, and then from there we can see how to pick up the partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony, for your question. And I also think that some of these things, especially the use of technology, we need to introduce them way in advance before the election year, for example, so that IEBC and others can already know, how it is used, what are the risks, what are the challenges. So unfortunately, in our situation, we always wait until probably the last year is when we start some of these processes. But I think the best thing would be to let's say the coming year. Why don't we use the coming year as a platform for harvesting the innovations that young people have on issues of elections, on issues of voter education, so that different organizations, both state and non-state, can know how to, can share what they have. Then IEBC and other actors can know how to deal with them. I can see a request to speak by Honorable Okia Omtata, and but just before Okia Omtata speaks, we have the Executive Director of CMD, Mr. Frank Mukwanja, and we would like him to say something because CMD is one of the partners in this space, and probably at this point it will be important to get to hear from him. Frank, you have the mic. Frank, can you hear me? Okay, as we wait for Frank, then we can ask Senator Okia Omtata to.
Can you hear me now? Am I audible now?
Yes, you are, Frank. Yes.
Thank you, Helen, and good evening to all listeners. My name is Franklin Mukwanja, and I have the privilege to serve as the Executive Director of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. Am I audible?
You are audible, but you're cutting off a little bit, but just go on.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry for that. I just want to reiterate our commitment to working with the institutions like IEBC to ensure that we are enhancing our multi-party democracy as well as citizen engagement. As we know, IEBC has a huge responsibility of ensuring that we have a very reliable and resilient electoral democracy. And therefore, in promoting this collaboration, we really want to engage citizens. All of us have the responsibility to ensure that such collaborations sustain Kenya's democratic journey. And it's important that when such conversations are happening, Kenyans inquire their minds and ask themselves, how do we achieve an inclusive and issue-based politics? having mechanisms that encourage diverse representation, including women, youth, persons with disability, and marginalized communities, encouraging collaboration with political parties to prioritize issue-based politics over divisive rhetoric, fostering a constructive political competition, supporting voter education campaigns that equip citizens with knowledge to make informed electoral reforms, electoral decisions are some of the measures that really make sure that we have an inclusive and issue-based political society. And therefore, just to conclude, as we discuss this, I want to encourage Kenyans to really highlight the need for continuous reforms that help to address challenges from past elections, such as electoral malpractice. I have heard about the concerns of one of the listeners about voter apathy. We need to continue to collectively support IEBC on advocating for transparent processes in voter registration, vote counting, and results transmission in order to build public trust in our democratic and electoral processes. So I really want to thank IEBC and Uraya for this partnership, and I want to call upon Kenyans to continuously engage. It is out of these conversations that we will enhance trust in our processes and build a very resilient democratic country, and as well as making sure that we are strengthening our electoral integrity. Thank you, and back to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Frank, from CMD, and thank you for the work that you do, starting with the People's Dialogue Festival, which starts at the beginning of the year, and all the other dialogues that go on throughout the year, including the one that we have today. So we will get the next speaker, and we'll ask Raymond. Raymond, if you can ask your question. If Raymond is not there, we can get Litunya. Or I can see Fabish.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for putting this space to engage Kenyans, because we have been having a lot of questions, and when we are having this kind of platform, it inspires hope, even as we are battling, to restore democracy in our country. Now, my question is only one. We have seen there is a controversial, I think, a clause in IEBC Bill 2024 about the live transmission of the results. Indeed, I want to confirm whether if that is true, and if it is true, because we have seen even in mature democracies that there is live transmission of the results. So if this is curtailed, that IEBC will not be streaming the results live, what will that mean for the voters? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fabish. We've gotten your question. Let's go to Mr. Guya. Mr. Guya. Or we can also take Eric Mwiti. Mr. Guya, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Okay.
Good evening to everyone. I joined a little bit later, but one thing I would like to mention is about the role of IEBC in our democracy. So, for example, let us give it an example of strengthening the institutional trust. Because when we have a credible and an independent IEBC, it actually reinforces our citizens' trust in the democratic institution. So when you're having electoral outcomes that are being perceived as fair, that actually contributes to political stability within our country. Now, the issues we are seeing around the country are actually as a result of this institution.
Guya, you are cutting off, but
so once
I seem to have your question on the issue of independence of.
First thing to just Can you hear me?
Guya, we are hearing
Yes.
you, but you're cutting off a little bit. So just be brief so that we can get the question. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe I was just finishing with the question. Maybe it's not maybe some sort of a question, but a food for thought. Like, for example, I would like to compare IEBC, the 10,000 polling stations that we normally have, compared to the number of transactions of M-Pesa from Safaricom as a company. Like, let us say in a minute, Safaricom can handle up to 1 million transactions, but it will take IEBC another 14 days just to get 10,000 police stations. So it's something that we really need to think about it. Thank you.
Very much. We can get another question. We have someone called, is it Kome or Wanyambura? Wadhoko. Wadhoko, you are on. You have the mic. Kome Mugambi.
Hi, thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute. Thank you for this platform. I think I had two questions, but I think one has already been independence of IEBC. Even as we see we are always told that this institution is independent, but we never see this institution trying to fight for its own, trying to show us its independence. We want to see more from you people, trying to defend the Constitution, trying to defend the IEBC Act. So I think that has already been asked, but it should be more ventilated, and let's not sweep that under the carpet. Number two, which is very important for me personally, it's the issue of the voter register. This voter register is a source of confusion every time there is an election. If you want to make people not be confident with the election at any time, the lack of confidence comes about mostly when you hear that there are people who cannot be found in the register. Right now we have 3 years to go, a bit more than 2 years. What is the IEBC doing to ensure that this register is clean? We know that there are people who have thumbs that cannot be detected on the gadgets. These are old people who have some conditions, people who work with their hands. What is the IEBC doing to ensure that these people, before the election, they have the confidence to know that they will not just appear and be told that they are not in the register? Thank you again, and thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there have been some food for thought there on the issue of independence of IEBC and IEBC fighting for itself, you know, and that citizens want to see IEBC defending the constitution. And then on the issue of the voter register, you are asking a question on this, on the source of confusion of the register, and also issues of biometrics. So we are going to have Jack to respond to the issue of the voter register, as the issue of independence has been addressed before, but probably we will come back to it when we are doing our concluding remarks, because it has been handled severally. So on the issue of the voter register, let's have Jack answer on that.
Thank you very much. And I want to commend you for that very good feedback on the issue of the voter register, which we know is a very, very critical document as far as the electoral process is concerned. However, I would like to clear the air by saying that the Commission tries at its level best to ensure that the register is as clean as possible before any election is conducted. But however, what I want to say here is that the public is given an opportunity just before election to go through it and verify the detail. So maybe what we shall do as a commission is to keep on enhancing awareness, that is voter education, to try and reach out to as many people as possible, so that during that time of verification, you have the information, and if you say find your name is missing and you're registered, and then you report immediately, so that you know you are assisted to ensure that you participate. The second point is that before election is done, IEBC employs, engages a very independent firm to do to audit the register, and among the issues that are addressed what you've raised here. So now the feedback coming out of that audit then is thoroughly addressed by the Commission. So the assurance I want to give to you is that the Commission takes seriously the issue of the register, because we know that is the fulcrum of that electoral process. And we are saying that we'll continue. We continue making sure that it is clean, everybody is included, and all the details that of the voters are well captured. Secondly, during registration, we also capture the biometrics, I think, of the voters, using the 10 fingers. So we are saying that we try as much as possible to ensure that all potential voters are captured using the 10 fingers. So we don't put anything to chance, so I want to assure you. But thank you for that feedback. We'll continue improving and keep it coming in, so that we make our electoral process as credible as possible.
I would like to address a question or a clarification that was sought by, I think it was Raymond, on the issue of live streaming. I think we had addressed the question earlier, I think before you joined us. Now, I will just say that the aspect of the live streaming is different from the transmission. Transmission is still there in law, and we are not doing away with it. It's just the aspect of live streaming that was declared unconstitutional by a court in 2018. That was filed by, it was a case that was filed by Katiba Institute, AFRICOG, and then the other petitioners were Okiya Mtata, the current senator, and David Ouma Ochieng. So those are that is the reason why the issue of live streaming is being removed from the law, because it is no longer applicable in the law. It was declared unconstitutional by a court by the High Court, and therefore we do not have that. But everything that you saw in 2022, the transmission that you saw, and the verification of the results will still be there moving forward. What you need to realize is that the courts have already rendered themselves on what the result is. The result is the form, okay, and not the text. So for that reason, we transmit the form. So for purposes of the election, the transmission is usually the form, and that is still something that will be applicable moving forward. Thank you very much.
Maybe Ruth, you could probably, do we need to speak a bit of Swahili? I think maybe we are too tense talking a lot of English. The difference between transmission and streaming, how do you make a regular Kenyan just understand what's the difference?
When it comes to transmission of the result, what the law requires the commission to do is once you want me to speak in Swahili?
You can speak in Swahili. I think it's a conversation.
Once the PO akimaliza kuhesabu kura anafai kupiga picha in a PDF format. Akipiga hiyo picha, then anaitransmit na KIMS kit. There's a tab in the KIMS kit which he uses. Once that is done, it is transmitted through the server, and it reflects in the public portal that the commission is supposed to maintain for the public, where they can access the results, and that is what we saw in 2022. And it was accessed by, I think, at least 300 million people, members of the public, all over the world. So yes.
Okay, I think in subsequent conversations, we have to really make this issue of transmission versus streaming. We have to break it down so that citizens can understand the difference. I think it's something that we will keep talking about so that we can understand. I think we're going to have more conversations other than today. This is just a beginning. So we can have Wanyambura. Wanyambura, can you take the mic? And also Dr. Ahmed. Wanyambura or Dr. Ahmed?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'll go straight to my question about the register. I know it has been handled, but my question is, one of the mandates of the commission is to continuously register voters. Is this mandate being done? Are you continuously registering voters as now? And if not, why? And because the issue of election starts with the register, as one of the previous speakers has said. So thank you very much and for the opportunity.
Thank you, Wanyambura. We also have Ahmed, Dr. Ahmed. You have the mic. We can also have Mark Kishori. Mark. Okay. We also have, is it Paki? Those that I have mentioned, I don't know who is able to access the mic and ask your question. Sikulu, we can also have the question from Sikulu. Going to have Jack once more to speak to the issue of continuous voter registration. And then we also had the issue of live stream and the result transmission, which will also be addressed by Silas.
Thank you, Mr. Wanyambura, for that question on continuous voter registration. It is true, as you observed correctly, that it is one of the mandate of IEBC to conduct continuous voter registration. I have to confess that currently it is not going on because of reasons that are beyond now the Secretariat. As you are aware, the commission is not in place, so it's only the Secretariat. And the Secretariat are more for implementers of the policies that have been made by the commission. And one of the policy is when the time to commence that continuous voter registration. And then also that activity is also accompanied by a number of notices which have to be signed by the chairperson of the commission, who currently they are not in place. So we are not on because that is a policy issue that can be handled when the commission is in place. So once the commission will be constituted, then we roll out continuous voter registration. Thank you for that inquiry, and we are happy you're also concerned the way we are.
My name is Silas from IEBC. There's a further question that was asked about the live stream and the result transmission. And I wanted to provide some further insights into what is the difference between live stream and the result transmission. And further to mention that further to what my colleague mentioned is that what is the bill that is in Parliament is a bill that is trying to clean up the regulations or the acts of Parliament subsequent to some sections that were declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. So what is happening is a cleanup, as explained earlier. However, I wanted to explain that in elections, our election processes are guided by the law. And the law is clear. What is a result as this, based on the decision that was made by the Supreme Court? The result is the physical form 34 from the polling stations. And therefore, our requirement is to transmit that form to the tallying centers through the use of technology, the result transmission system that we deploy. So what we do with the technology is that we capture the form that has been signed by the presiding officers and the agent at the polling station and electronically transmit that form for display at the public portal and also for tallying at the tallying center, both at the constituency and the county, at the national tallying center. Therefore, we do not, I want to distinguish between the Sorry, I had somebody speak. So the live streaming that was mentioned in the Act was just a cleanup of the regulations or the Act as based on the Supreme Court decisions. Therefore, our role in the elections is to transmit the scanned image of the results form as signed at the polling station and announced by the presiding officers at the polling station. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we've continued to receive questions, and we have Owino Wambogo. You have the mic. Owino Wambogo. There's somebody who is called Ramson Kenya. Ramson Kenya, you have the mic. Go ahead and ask your question. Is that Ramson? Okay. We've been having a lot of questions and concerns around the issues of the independence of the IEBC. We've also had quite a number of questions on the issue of the commissioners. Maybe on the issues of commissioners, I think, how do we as citizens push to ensure that the process is hastened and we have the commissioners in place so that when some of the things that are pending, like the ones that you've been asking for, can go on. So we also need, I think sometimes in governance, you have state and non-state actors. We have citizens. I think we are looking for a situation where we also have citizens who can push some of these things to make sure that some of these things happen. We have somebody called Francis. Francis, you have the mic. Francis?
Can I ask the question?
Yes. Who is this, Francis?
This is Danson.
That is Danson. Okay. Thank you, Danson.
And thank you for the commission, the secretariat for hosting our team recently.
Yes, Danson, you can. Which team is this? Danson, are you still there? Okay, we have someone called Kevin Mose. Okay, somebody else called Mugoi Shamba, MS Mugoi Shamba. Mugoi Shamba, you have the mic. Caris, you can have the mic. Then we also have Mizani 254. Mizani 254. Okay. Okay, so I think In that case,
I have a question.
yes, who is this? Is
Do you tell this Sikuku?
Sikuku? Okay, Sikuku, go ahead.
Yes, I'm a resident of Navajolo, and my concern is on the transmission of the results. You realize that some polling stations, there's no network connectivity at all. What is IEBC doing over the same to ensure that such issues are solved before 2027?
Thank you very much, Sikuku, for that question. We are taking the last set of questions. So we have somebody called Raymaya. We have Benster. We are taking the last set of questions. So Benster. Benster, are you there? David?
I asked my question. Can you hear me?
That is David?
No, this is what form. I've been there in the mic, but you're not giving me the mic.
Okay, you have the mic now. Ask your question.
Okay. Oh, my name is Watform from Turkana County, and I have two questions.
There's some background noise. There's some background
Yes.
noise.
Can you? But you can hear me.
Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay. Just assume the background noise. Hear my voice. Regarding the constituency and word adjustment, with the current structure of 290 constituency and existing words, how does your office handle requests for the creation of new constituency or words or the adjustment of their boundaries while ensuring equitable representation and compliance with the constitution guidelines? Question 2, what is the process of organizing by-election in case where elected officials such as an MP or MCS pass away or vacate their position, and how do you ensure timely, efficient representation for the affected area during this transition? In this case, we have members of parliament who have shifted to be a CS, the like of NNTCS, and we also have one of the MP from the coast who was declared, his position was declared vacant because it was said that there was wrong issue with his election. So how does that happen? Because we don't have a commission right now. Does the constituent being affected? Yes, you know they are affected. And how do you handle that case? Because the constituent want a member of parliament in their constituent. Thank you.
Thank you, Watson, for your question. So we have the question by David on the boundary delimitation process, and I'm going to ask Ali to address the question on boundary. And then we have Shikuku, who asked the issue of connectivity, and I'm going to ask Silas to address that.
Hi, Watson. My name is Ali, and I'll respond to the question with regards to boundary delimitation. What the Constitution says with regards to constituencies is that there are going to be 290 constituencies. So we cannot really exceed that. And indeed, you can send petitions requiring for realignment, but it's based on the parameters that have been prescribed in Article 89, whether it's population, community of interest, geographical features, cultural and historical ties. So you can actually write petition to request for a review of your constituencies. Otherwise, with regards to the wards, the commission as well can review the wards, and it can be up or the lower limit. So it's not only restricted to 1450, but it can be up or downwards. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you. This is Silas again. I'll try to answer the question from Shikuku about lack of network at the polling stations. Yes, it is true. There are parts of this country that have poor network connectivity. And we've seen attempts by the mobile network operators and the Communication Authority of Kenya to try to upgrade the network connectivity. And during elections, as we approach the elections, the Commission partners with mobile network operators and the Communication Authority with an aim of assessing the ground in terms of areas where the network has challenges and providing alternative mechanisms, like including even satellite connectivity, to ensure every part of the country is covered. Even with that attempt, still there are areas that may face challenges during transmission. And what we do is, as a complementary mechanism, we train our presiding officers and officials on how they handle certain areas or challenges that they face during the election. So when the presiding officers finish counting and tallying of the results, counting at the polling stations, and they capture the results on the KIMS kit, which is our technology device, the first thing they are trained to do is to transmit the results to the National Tallying Center. So the system, once they have finished counting and tallying, counting the results, and they have captured the image of the form, there's a button on the KIMS kit that they press to say transmit. So once they press that button, it attempts to scan the network to identify the network connectivity available. Remember, the KIMS kit has two SIM cards. It has a primary SIM card and a secondary SIM card, which is for alternative network connectivity. If the first primary network is not available, then it has a second network where it attempts to transmit. If all that fails at the polling stations, our presiding officers are trained that they are required to switch off that device and move to the nearest point of connectivity, which is normally the constituency tallying center. And from the constituency tallying center, they will switch on the device and it will scan the network and transmit the results. One very important point to note is that after a device or the KIMS has scanned the image of the result form and the presiding officer has confirmed that they are ready to transmit, then that image is locked and it cannot be changed at any point. The only thing that can happen is to transmit. So whatever happens at whatever point, the only thing that can happen after the polling station results are captured is to transmit. They cannot change the results form. So that is the complementary mechanism we have provided and trained our officers to handle situations in areas where there is poor network coverage. And remember, we have the satellite devices available in case they require to transmit using the satellite devices. Thank you.
There was a question by, I think it was by Watson, and it was in regards to by-elections or the conduct of by-election, how the commission conducts by-election, and etc. Now, the commission, once a vacancy occurs, whether it is through the resignation or the passing on of a member, the respective speaker of that particular assembly notifies the commission through a notice of vacancy. And some of the salient features of that notice is to inform the commission of the vacancy, and based on that, the commission then is expected to conduct a by-election within a specific timeline. For parliament, it is usually 90 days, but for the county assemblies, then we never used to have a timeline. And based on that, the commission passed a policy in which we conduct the by-elections within the same amount of period, especially if there's no vacancy in the National Assembly or Senate. We do empathize from the Commission's perspective with the residents of the affected constituencies and wards. We know that they have not been represented for the time that the commissioners have not been in office. And what we want to say is that this is something that the commission will take up the moment they come into office, once they are appointed. And once that is done, then they will have representation in the respective assemblies. Our hands are tied at this particular time. When we do not have commissioners, the secretariat cannot conduct the elections, because elections are not an administrative process. It is a process that requires the commissioners to be in post and for them to give us direction. And because there are several things that require the commissioners to be present: gazettement of returning officers, the appointment, giving a date, and all that. And that is not something that the commission secretariat can do in the absence of commissioners. So based on that, all we can say is that this is only something that will be held in abeyance until the commissioners are in post. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. We want to really thank you for joining the discussion and for being very candid with the questions that you have asked and the issues that you have raised. Remember, this is Gumzo na IEBC, or Talking to IEBC. It's the first of a series of platforms where we have IEBC shedding light on different issues that citizens want information on. We wish to thank the Secretariat staff of the IEBC from the different directorates who have managed to shed light on the pertinent issues that citizens have asked on generally about the IEBC and also on electoral processes. We also want to thank CMD Kenya for the collaboration in hosting this discussion. And we look forward to having more platforms like this. Remember that a good citizen is one who participates. You need to participate wherever you are. You need to be interested in what is happening within your community. You need to identify issues which you feel that are happening and which you need to be in charge of. If you have a bad road, you probably don't have water. All those things are civic responsibilities where you can engage. We do hope that there are quite a number of things that are happening for those who are in the counties. We have a lot that happens at county level. We have the budgeting processes. We have the planning processes at county level. And we hope that these are issues that can be of interest to all of us so that we can participate in making Kenya a great nation. You can follow us on our media platforms. That is at Uraia Trust, at IEBC, Kenya, and also at CMD Kenya. And also, we are going to give you the dates and the time for our next space so that we can engage with you further. Otherwise, from me, your moderator, my name is Helen. I have really enjoyed being the moderator in this session, and we really look forward to the next one. And hopefully that you will engage us more. You will come with more questions. You will look around and see what issues are happening, issues which you need clarity, And also, we also thank the young people who have provided recommendations in terms of the use of technology. We will find out between CMD, Uraia, and IEBC whether we can set a place where innovations, especially on the issue of voter education, people can come and showcase the innovations that they have on the different electoral processes and how we can leverage on these processes. Otherwise, from us, thank you very much and have a good night.